Good evening everybody and welcome back to the channel. Today we are actually going to take a little break from the course playthroughs and do a little revisit to my putting techniques or methods, as it's been requested by a few people, just exactly what I'm doing in regards to putting. Now, the video that I did do a while back, not the most pleasant of videos to watch really. I didn't go into as much detail as what I wanted to really. I was in a bit of a rush when I did that one, but I was also slurping away on some tea, so apologies to anybody who has watched that video, just for the tea slurping. I'm pretty sure it was that video. There was a few people who weren't too happy, but yeah, I just wasn't muting the mic at all. I was trying to rush that video. But anyway, I digress. Let's get back into it. This is my second time attempting to record this video now. I thought I was recording it the other night. I thought I double tapped the share or create button on the PS5 controller. Didn't realise I'd only taken a screenshot. It didn't register one of the taps. Double tapped to finish the recording, and yeah, it started recording. So hopefully I get things right this time. But what we're going to be covering in this video in as much detail as possible is we're going to go through the likes of the putt preview and haptic feedback, as well as the power bar. Then we'll move on to the marker distance and movement of it for uphill, downhill putts and such. And then we'll head on to using the count method, which is what I do. And you can also use that in combination with the haptic feedback as well to help you get a feel for that count method. Then we're going to go on to the first putting method, which is the most common one that you will see me using in all my videos, and that is using the beads. It's technically two putting methods because I use the grid lines as well. So we'll move on to that one, and then we'll do the final one, which is the longest putting method that I've used, and that's gone back since the Golf Club 2. I can't remember the putting method that I used to use in the original Golf Club game back in 2014 through 2016. Was that 2016, 2017? TGC2 came out, I can't remember. But that's what we're going to be doing. So for this first bit anyway, it's going to be just a little bit of talk, more so talk, and there's not really going to be much action on the screen. So we'll kick it off, as I say, with the likes of the putt preview, haptic feedback, and the power bar. Now, obviously the community has grown quite a lot since, more so since the game went free for the month on PlayStation Plus not long ago. And I mean, it is absolutely fantastic to see that the community is still growing strength by strength each day. But what I did notice as well is that there's a lot of frustration with people who are struggling a little bit with the mechanics of the game, and one most notably is the putting. And it's very difficult. I try to describe putting techniques and stuff in the comments of these posts and replies, but it's very difficult to actually properly describe it without any visual aids. Now, what I am going to be talking about in the video as well is by no means gospel. No putting, like I do highly suggest going and checking out other videos as well, other people's putting techniques, whether they're tips videos that they're doing or just general playthroughs, and just get an idea, because the way that can help you is having more than one putting technique. You could use one single putting technique every single day that you play the game for a month solid, and it works absolutely flawless for you. You're getting your birdies, yeah, you might miss a few. No putting technique in the game is 100% guaranteed to drop a putt every single time, regardless of the distance, whether you're 10 feet or 100 feet away. You're not guaranteed to get the putt every single time. But where you can have a little bit of an advantage is on day one of month number 2, after you've had a solid month of using that one putting technique and it's worked perfectly for you. Just one round, it doesn't matter whether you've played the course for the first time or for the 1000th time, it can just not work for you. So if you have more than one putting technique to fall back on, if one's not working for you, you can on the fly switch it up and move on to another one and see how that one goes for you. So yeah, we'll kick things off. As I say, just go and check out other people's videos as well, and just build up as much of an arsenal, I suppose you could say, of putting techniques that you can. So yeah, anyway, without any further delay, we'll move on with the putt preview, haptic feedback, and the power bar. Now, whether you're brand new to the game or you're a long time, if you want to use any of these, by all means go ahead. If you want to play on any swing difficulty, by any means go ahead. You paid the money for the game, you have every right to play it how you want. But I never use the putt preview myself. Actually, what I will do while I'm talking, I will turn it on for the purposes of this video. I have to remember where it is. That is a very good question. I think it's in difficulty. It shows that I never use it, so swing difficulty pro, blah, blah, blah. Putt preview. Right, we'll put it onto unlimited for this, for the purposes of the video. I personally never use it myself, but if you want to use it, I try not to. I say maybe use it in local matches, or maybe if online you do get I think it's 3 per round, I think it is, that you can use. But try not to depend on it too much, because if you then branch off into societies where it's disabled and you no longer have that little, I suppose you could say, crutch to help you through the round, you might find yourself struggling. But it can be a great way, especially if you're in the likes of here in the practice facility and you just want to get an idea of things. In terms of the haptic feedback, I no longer use that. I did use it for a while. It's great for partial shots, but then it does work well with the count method, which I will go into detail later on in the video, as I mentioned, for getting your putts right and knowing that point out which you do need to push forward. That can be used anywhere, so by all means do feel free to use that if you wish. The power bar, now this is a big one for me. A number of people do agree with me on this, you may not. It's strictly my own personal opinion anyway, definitely. And that is, I find it, as great as it is for newcomers, even long-time players will use it and have adapted well to it, can use it flawlessly. I find it to be more of a distraction rather than an aid in the game. And the reason why I say that is because you're, rather than being focused on the animation of your golfer's swing and getting the natural feel for when to push forward, whether you're off the green or on the green putting, you're more focused on that little white section of the power bar, and when that slider, marker, whatever you want to call it, gets up there, you're snapping the stick forward. And where it can be most troublesome a lot of times is because you're focused on that, especially when you move up through the swing difficulty, so say like pro, master, even if you're well able to play on a legend difficulty but you use it, you're more focused on that tiny little sliver of white on the power bar to get that perfect. And because you snap the stick forward, it can really mess with your tempo. In terms of putting, it's okay, it's not bad. It's usable for putting, but generally similar to the putt previews, excuse me, I would personally recommend on not relying on it to be a crutch all the time. So yeah, that's my own personal opinion when it comes in regards to the power bar. I find it to be a bit more of a distraction and a hindrance rather than an assist. But as I did say, there are a lot of people who have gotten used to it and they're well able to play with it on and off the green. So fair play. I genuinely can't do it myself. So what I want to move on to now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to stay in here in the practice facility for now, for the next 2 parts. And then maybe briefly, will I do it on a course? I'll do it on a course. I'll go into detail just before we're about to start it and exactly what way I'm going to do it for reading the beads and doing the worm cam and such. But for now, we'll stay in the practice facility here, and we'll talk about the marker distance and the movement for uphill, downhill putts. Now, as you can see on screen here, the marker is set for 30 feet. Up in the top right, it shows 28 feet. So it's 28 feet to the pin, but the marker is defaulted to 30. Let's see if I can find, we'll just change location at the moment. We'll go over here, see if maybe that's a little bit better. Okay, so I found a little location. It's slightly downhill. It's 3 inches down. The marker, as you can see, is set to 25 on screen, and it shows down 3 inches. Up in the top right, you'll see that it's set to it's 28 feet to the pin, and it's down 3 inches. So the game is defaulted, has already taken that distance downhill into consideration and automatically pulled the marker back for me. Now, generally, what I tend to do myself is, like, it's perfectly fine. I won't move it from here, but if normally what I mathematically think in my head is add an extra inch on there to allow for any, just if the ball does slow down, and just if you slightly underhit it, it'll give it just that little extra bit to carry to the hole. And if it does miss, it won't go past by too far. Now, if we were to flip this around, and it was to be 28 feet to the pin or to the hole, but up 3 inches. Actually, just to make it a little bit simpler, we say it's up 4 inches, a little bit more even. So we just imagine it's 28 feet up 4 inches, not 3. The marker will probably default to, let me see, what would that be? 33, maybe 34, and that would be fine in and around about that distance. And that's generally, I used to always manually move the marker out to that sort of distance, because what I do is, rather than just add 4 onto the 28 feet and make it be that the putt is playing 32 feet, I'd add another 50%. I'd add 50% of the 4 on, so the 4 becomes a 6. If it was to be an uneven number, so say it was to be up 5 inches, I'd add on 2 to 3, depending on how I'm confident I'm feeling on it, but in and around about that. But generally, what you'll find is that the game will automatically default the marker to the required distance, if you get what I mean. So rather than it being 28 up 4, it'll put it to somewhere in the region of about 33, 34 feet. And that's basically, the game is telling you this is how far it is to the hole, but the marker then tells you this is how long the putt is going to play. And that's then where, when we get into the count on the backswing, that's where that comes into play. So I don't generally, 99.9% of the time, I will not move the marker. So this particular putt here is 28 feet down 3, marker's defaulted to 25. I will just keep that at that. So even if we had a severe break right to left, I would just simply move it out, just keep it. Once I see that 25 feet, I'm more than happy. You will see that the elevation does change as you move out. You can expect that, depending. As you're moving around, we've dropped back to 24 there, so pop it back up. But I will just generally try to keep that. If you ever want to reset your putt as well, if you're playing keyboard and mouse on PC, I don't know. But by default, if you ever want to pan very quickly, pan the camera around on PlayStation, and I presume on Xbox it should be the right trigger, but it's R2, and you'll move that a little bit faster. So I see we can just pan around nice and quick, compared to, this is the default speed just using the stick, but then we just speed it up. Then if you ever want to reset, if you don't feel it and you want to just readjust your aim again from the beginning, just start it all over, just press, I presume if you're using controller on PC as well, anyway, it'd be R1, and there we go, snap straight back in. So that'd be the right bumper, I think, is, if I remember correct, is what to call it on the Xbox controller. So that's how you can just snap that back real quick. And it doesn't matter on or off the green, so I mean, you could be all the way over here, you could have your marker all the way out here at 92 feet. As soon as I press R1, it snaps it right back to where the game defaulted the marker and my aim as soon as the shot loaded up. And this goes for all shots off the green as well. So even if you're on the tee and you pan the camera around, you want to have a quick look, and then you just press R1 or the right bumper, and it will snap you back to your spawn point, I suppose you could say, or spawn aim. So what we'll do now is we'll move on to the count and the haptic feedback. Now, you can also use, I say, it's not too bad for the putting with the power bar. You can use that as well to help you get a feel for the count. Now, what the counting method is for every 10 feet you do a 1 count. So for example, this one, it's 28 feet down 3, marker's defaulted to 25. So I'm going to do a 2 to somewhere between a 2 and a 3 count. Now what I mean by that is, without taking the shot right now, I'll take a few practice swings. So we're going to practice swing. And what I want to do is the following. And this is where the haptic feedback will come in, because what you can do is you can get a feel, if you're finding it hard to get that trigger point of the vibration on the controller to push forward, what you can do is you can just use the counting method, and then once you get to a certain number and you feel that vibration, you can adjust it, because as the green speed varies, you might need to count a bit faster or a little bit slower. So for this, what I would do is I would do a 2 to 3 count. So the way it works is we go, it's 25 feet, so I go 1, 2. If it was 20 feet, I'd strike the ball on 2. So for this 25 feet, I go 1, 2, and then push forward. Right as I finish saying 2, I'll push forward just before I'm about to say 3. That'd be roughly a 2.5 count. So I'll give it a quick demonstration here. I'll do one more practice swing. So just 1, 2, and push forward. Let's see. And as you can see, just keep an eye on the feedback before I do an actual swing, and you should see it just flash up really quickly that I should hopefully generally get it in the white perfect zone. So I'll be 1, 2, snap forward, slightly under hit, 1, 2, slightly under hit again. Let's try the real thing. So it's a little bit right to left. I'll just pop it out to about here. So I'll be 1, 2, push forward, slightly under hit is gravity going to take. I don't have mulligans on, which I should have done at the beginning. So we'll just pop this in and see where the game defaults us to. Actually, this is going to be perfect. Excuse me. Clear my throat there, just came up on me all of a sudden. This is going to be perfect because this is actually good for the counting method. So as I said, you strike the ball on the number that the marker is at. So there a moment ago we had 25 feet, so it'd be about 2.5 right as I finished saying 2. If it was to be bang on 20 feet, I go like so. I go 1, 2 and strike the ball as I say the T of 2. If it were 3 or 30 feet, I go 1, 2, 3, strike the ball on 3. 4, it'd be 1, 2, 3, 4. And generally, provided you get the pace of your count right, that's where the haptic feedback can come in, because you can adjust your counting speed. And you should, if you get the count right with the haptic feedback on, what you'll do is say it's a 40-foot putt. As you say 3, you should feel the vibration, and that'll tell you push forward and you're striking the ball on 4. Now, once you get over the 60-foot mark, you just do your 6 count. And I'll demonstrate it here. I won't even aim. I'll just smash the ball. We've got 115 feet to the pin, and even though it's level, you can actually see that the marker is at 117 feet. So it's given us that extra couple of feet just to allow the ball to go past, but it hopefully shouldn't run too far if you get the weight or power of the putt right. So what I'm going to do a 6 count in a practice swing, and then I'll take the actual shot. So it'll be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Didn't flash up on the bottom there, but let's see if we can get it. See how close we can get it. Now, any putt like this, you're generally, if you can walk away with a 2 putt, that's a great shot. That's a great outcome. So let's try a 6 count. That's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Got it into the white, 80% power. See how close we can get it. It'll probably stop about 3-4 feet short, maybe, or maybe not. Okay. I couldn't do that if I tried. Right, it's actually default. Have I got mulligans on? Bear with me 2 seconds. No, I don't. So I'll actually put them on just in case. It's actually giving me the same putt again. Let's see if we can recreate it, just out of curiosity. So I'll do it again. Another 6 count. Even though the putt is over 115 feet. So like you're talking 70, 80, 90, 100 feet. Just do that 6 count, and because of where the marker is, your ball should get close, if not, luckily, like we had a moment ago, drop in. So we'll try it one more time. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I think I've overhit that. Apparently not. Slightly underhit it, actually. It's only 78% this time. Let's see if it still gets level with the hole or comes up a little shy. So yeah, it's come up a little bit shy. 80% power is actually bang on for that. We'll try it one more time. So it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 83. I've overhit that, so that should go past the hole. Or if it slows down enough and it's still online, it might hit the back and drop in. Hits the back and drops in. Now, I'm not even taking into account the break on this, but the pace that I'm hitting it's working out well. We'll try it one more. So just 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. 77. Now that will definitely has to come up short. We'll just speed it up, and as you can see, it comes up short. So one more. Let's see if we can get a white. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. 80%. So that should, going by the previous ones, drop in. It's getting there. Or is it going to make a lie around me? That's going to drop in. So as you can see, I've done a 6 count. I struck the ball on 6. Because the mark is at 117, just past the 115 feet that is the hole, it has just the right amount of pace in it just to get there. And even if you were to miss, go slightly past the hole, you should not go past too far, whether it's a flat putt, an uphill putt, a downhill putt. Depending on where the marker is, you get that count right, you hit the feedback if you're using that. You should generally come up either slightly short or just maybe a few feet past. Hopefully, with all things going well, if you do miss, no more than 5-6 feet past. Let's, out of curiosity, have a little look at the putt preview. How actually do I do the putt preview again? That goes to show that I don't use the it. I actually do need to see the controls. Bear with me. Okay, that generally goes to show that that shows how I never used the putt preview. I couldn't even remember what button to press. But if we actually if I hit or hold, now it's making a lie around me. X, there we go. Now it's gone. So there's the putt preview, making a bit of a liar out of me. And if we can follow it on down, now the putt preview is finished. As you can see, it's perfect for getting right to there. So let's, what I'll do is I'll pick another location real quick. We'll go to here, see if maybe there might be a little bit more break in this one. All right, a little bit of break. It's actually still showing the putt preview now from the previous one. What I'm going to do now, I'm going to actually see if I can read this one. And when we get onto the course to show the beads for that putting method, what I'm going to do is right as the putt loads up, I'm actually going to, I'll do this in editing. I will actually screenshot it and I'll actually talk more in depth and give some on-screen lines and points of reference and stuff like that. I'll go into a little bit more detail and then cut back to where I actually do line up the putt and take it. But generally right now, from what I can see going with the markers, I'm going to want to aim probably roughly around about here. So we got a 52 foot putt up 1 inch, 54 feet the marker is defaulted to. I'm not going to touch it at all. So that'll be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I got it in the white. Is that enough? Oh, caught that left edge. Now, we've gone back to that again. So what we'll do, let's just have a little look, see where the putt preview takes it. So, and now this is using the bead method, by the way. This is what I do. So as you can see, just by looking at those beads straight away, I got the putt right. So I managed to, just looking at how they're moving and the position of where they are, at where certain ones go to a certain point, and then I'm looking at the others. So I'll be able to go into a lot more detail on that when I do the screenshot part of the video momentarily. So we'll see if we can get it right again. So let's pick another location really quick, because what I want to do, the reason why I want to do it on a course as well, is because I can repeat this same putt over and over again, and I could easily just keep on doing this and just edit out the bits where I miss and then where I get it right. So that's why I want to do it on a course where it's not as controllable. So let me see, going by this straight away, maybe green line. So it'll be 1, 2, 3. Just go past that 3. Ooh, very slightly missed it, but I wasn't far off. And that's what I mean, like, even no matter what the putting technique that you use, not always guaranteed. Let's see how much further I needed to go out. I'm going to predict I only needed to go out to maybe about here, just to aim that. So let's do our preview. As you see, it's just turning. So now, where did I say we needed to go out to? Out to about here, which looks like it should be right. So we'll do another preview. And that is apparently now going to cruise us straight into the heart of the cup. So let's see if I can get the weight right on it, and then we'll move out onto a course then. So 1, 2, 3. Slightly underhit it. Let's try that again. Just snap the stick forward a little bit. See, even though I use this method every single round that I play, I can still get it wrong myself. So 1, 2, 3. There we go. So that should, going by the putt preview, drop right into the heart of the cup. And there you go. So that's the counting method. Very, very effective for getting the weight right. And as I say, you can use that in combination with, if you use the power bar. It's, as I say, the power bar is a lot easier to use on the putting, and in line with the haptic feedback as well. You can use the haptic feedback to gauge your count and help the count then also work in your favor to get the timing of where the vibration is going to come up, so it's not catching you off guard. Because especially when you move up into the higher difficulty swings, that vibration, it can be very, very subtle, and you can very easily miss it and either smash your putt or horribly underhit it. So that's where the counting method is very, very helpful. So I'll go and find a course. I'll just pick one off the highest rated or something like that, just some random course. And as we're lining up the approach shot, that's where I'll rejoin. So I'll talk to you in a minute. Okay, so here we are on the course, and this one is called the Dunes at Crimson Cove, and it's actually designed by Sleepy Panda 7. Panda, taking your course as part of this video. And right now it's par 5 is what we're starting off on, so we more than reachable. We can get here in 2. I'm playing off the tips as well, and we've got a nice big downhill here. Looks like we've got some decent break on the green as well. Now, one rule of thumb that I always personally have myself is I always play every hole to get par. Main objective of the round is to simply just keep the bogies off the scorecard. So even if you get 18 pars in a row, your main objective of keeping those bogies off the scorecard has been achieved, or being completed, should I say. Any birdies or potential eagles that come your way throughout the round and you get them, happy days. And even if you get 18 birdies in a row and maybe even eagle the par 5, so even lower, happy days. But I always, a general rule of thumb for myself personally, I play every hole for par. I never also focus on other people's scores, because I find that can throw me off as well, and that can actually help, that can play a part in messing up your putting technique. If one hole goes wrong, that technique starts going wrong. And that's why, where I mentioned earlier on in the video, having multiple putting techniques or methods at your disposal, ready to just on the fly switch it up and change to a different one if one's not working out. You can easily salvage around and get something out of it. So even if you got 3-4 bogeys in a row, just switch it up. That's not working, change to the other method, and hopefully one or more of the other methods that you do know, one of them will help you bring that round back and salvage something. So let's get up onto the green. I'm not going to be too fussy about where we get here. I'm not going to be too fussy about if I get a birdie or an eagle or par. Even if I get triple bogey, it doesn't bother me. It's all just demonstration purposes for this video. Let me see. We'll go with the 5 wood. We'll just hit it up there. And yes, I'm nearly forgetting to say, once I get onto the green, whether it's from this shot or a follow-up shot, as soon as the putt loads up, what I'm going to do, as I say, in editing, I am going to take a screenshot right at that moment that the putt loads up, what I'm presented with straight away, and then I will commentate over that screenshot, and I'll add in lines and certain points of reference and such like that to describe what I'm looking at and what I'm on the lookout for when setting up the putt, using this reading the beads and using the grid lines as well, to see the putt line without even moving the camera majority of the time, depending. So once I've done all that, then at the screenshot part, it'll cut back to the live gameplay that will be going on now, I suppose I could say, and we'll take it on from there. So right, let's see if we can get up on the green now in 2. Oh, smash it up. God knows where this will end, because this is going to kick off that slope, is it? We're not going to be on the green, are we? No, we're going to run off onto the fringe. Okay, so I will, let me see if there's a good little spot that I can get at. Actually, do you know what? I am going to just chip, just for the purpose of it. I am going to chip, or will that be might be a little too awkward to try and demonstrate. I'll chip it and let it run down this slope, and hopefully it leaves us a good putt then that I can describe. So we'll see where it loads up, and as I say, see where it ends up, and as soon as the putt loads up, I'll take a screenshot and do what I said a moment ago. So let's just chip it on. Okay, so a little transition, the pre-shot animation and such or whatever, or the fade to black and then loading up the putt, that's all played through. While that's playing, straight away I'm focused on the center of the screen, and what I want to be basically looking for is I want to be picturing a straight line between the ball and the hole. So it'd be pretty much something like, basically I just want to focus on here like that, as you can see now with the orange line. And depending on what way the putt is, for example in here for this one it's going to be a left to right break. There's not really going to be much movement in it, and what I want to do now is I want to pretty much focus on the first grid line to the left of that orange line, so the first vertical one, as you can see highlighted here now by the purple. And all within the space of a couple of seconds, as you can let it cycle as much as you want, as many times as you want, because what you find, sometimes the beads won't be moving across the grid lines in a consistent and uniform manner, if you get what I mean. Like, they won't be at the consistent speed. Like, one bead might be going faster than the other, dependent on the severity of the little bit of break. But if we were if we were to take, for example, that this grid line here, the bead running along this grid line that's now highlighted by the red, that the bead running along that line is the first bead to cross that orange line. Now what I want to do is, I've established that, and now what I want to do is I want to be focusing my attention on the other beads and seeing what position they're in at the time that that bead has crossed the orange line. So you can see the other two beads up above, just sort of about halfway between the red line and the putt marker, and I'll highlight them in yellow, as you can see. So they're the next two. There, we'll just say, for example, just for the purposes of this, that the beads are pretty much about there. It's going to be averaging there. And basically what that's telling me now is that the red line, we'll call it the red line bead, the first one to cross that orange line, when that crosses and where those two yellow ones are, that's now telling me where I want to aim the marker. So pretty much I will then just aim out, and I will highlight it here in green. So as you can see, that's where I need to aim the marker. And then you just get your weight right, and provided there's no little humps or bumps or anything like that, as I say, you can let this cycle as many times as you want. Once you get used to it, you can do it fairly quick. I can tend to do it within a couple of seconds. Can usually see the general break, maybe sometimes, depending on the length of the putt, the severity of the lines. I mean, the grid lines here, it's not a severe break. So I know, basically, I just want to focus my attention. Vertical grid line wise, that purple grid line, I'm focusing there. I should not have to go out any further than that. If the grid lines were to be a little bit more severe slope, the left to right break, or if it's right to left accordingly, I might let it cycle a couple more times. If the grid lines are transitioning from a green into yellow or even orange, red, so forth, I then want to start. I straight away, as soon as I see the more severe color for the break, I know, okay, well, I'm going past the first grid line. If it's maybe bordering into yellow, I might just need to go a little bit over, and I'm still at the same time I'm watching the beads, and I'm keeping my attention on for what is the most regular, consistent one to be crossing that orange line, and seeing where the rest of the beads are in relation to that. If I see that when that red line bead crosses the orange line, if I see that there's still a number of beads that have not come in, have not rendered at that purple line, I know, right, I'm going X amount out. So I'm going to focus my attention on the second grid square. So between grid line 1 and grid line 2 to the left of the hole. And dependent on the severity, you'll often hear me inputs. I've more than likely explained this at other parts in the video, but I'm actually doing this a few days. It's taken me a number of days to actually get this video done. But yeah, what you'll hear me actually often describe is I will go half out, one out. So one would be where the purple grid line is. 1.5 out would be half a grid square after the purple line. 2 out would be the following grid line, so on and so forth. And that all boils down to the severity of the slope, the left to right slope in this case. So hopefully maybe I've described that with a little bit of visual representation as well. Hopefully I've described that as best as I can. So we'll get right back on into the video. Okay, so as I will have explained in the when going into detail about what I'm looking for, obviously the first hole, the putt that after the chip shot, the putt just wasn't going to work out. So I just decided to just knock that in and move on. We're on the second hole, and so yeah, I will have spent right now. Obviously, I'm playing through, so I haven't gone into the slow details of going through it. But hopefully, with me explaining all that through the screenshot and doing it now, hopefully it'll come across well. So let me see. As I mentioned earlier on the video about the marker, I don't move that. I'll just tap R1 a few times, make sure that's where it is. So 30 feet down 5. I more so want to take off about 4. The game has defaulted me to 27 feet, so I'll keep it at that. It's in the region of where I want to be. Straight away, looking at the beads, I can see this is definitely got to be at least over here, 1.5. Green speed is 169. So let's see if we can get it at least just relatively close for the birdie. If we 2-putt par, that is no problem at all. So 1, 2, pretty much 3 up, under hit that. And I'd say if I had just a slight bit more, I'd say maybe 40% would have been perfect. And I only got 38, but that may well have held the line and dropped on in. So we'll play one more approach shot and then do the putt. And what I'll do then is I'll move on to the other putting method that I use, which is the worm cam. Actually, I will talk about the because this method that we're doing now is technically 2. So we'll do that now. Let's see if we can find a good little spot to sit ourselves. That's not going to be too awkward. Maybe actually even this quite a bit uphill. If we go down here, we'll try that one again. It's only demonstration. I'm not concerned about the score, but 178, 172. All right, we'll just drop it back to an 8 iron. And we'll just let it just run down that slope then. Because yeah, what I do is I look at the I want to say the vertical green lines. I'll have more than likely spoken about all this anyway during the screenshot segment or section. But I'll just, if I do forget to do it, I'll just talk about it now at the moment. So straight away I'm looking at those beads and I can see we're going to be minimum 1.5 to 2 lines out, so anywhere from here to there as well. If I do forget to mention it when talking about the putts, if you do watch me other videos, what you'll notice, I'll always say, okay, it looks about 1.5 out. So what I always mean by that is this green line here, I'll just pull the marker back so you can see it better. This green line here, that'll be 1. This green line will be 2, 3, 4, and so on. So if I was to say, depending on the break, if I was to say, oh, there's the hole, it looks to be about a half out, I'll say that's half between the hole and the first green line. If I say 1, if I say about 1 out, so that's 1 line, 1.5, you get the idea. 2, 2.5, 3, and so on. Right, I'll leave the pin in actually. So yeah, what did I say? It looks like it's probably going to be minimum 1.5 to 2 out for this. We got 37 feet up 1. So this is where now I'm going to add on, let me see, 50% onto 12. That's going to be 18. So it'll be 20, 57, 54. Sorry, 55. Marker has defaulted. The game has defaulted the marker onto 53. So I'm happy enough with that. It's in the range. Let's see if 1.5 out here will do, because we will be hitting it with a bit of force. It is up 1 foot, so let's just make sure that we are just pretty much bang on 1.5 out. I generally don't tend to do that. I've kind of gotten a rough idea for the ballpark of where I need the marker to be between the lines when I am playing myself, because I am so used to it. But let's do ourselves a 5 count, and pretty much a 5 count, and see how close we can get, if not drop it. So it'll be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Might have just overhit that, or is it turning? Just slightly overhit it. Ooh, okay, right, we're going to get another put back. Straight away I'm looking at that. I can see a very, very subtle little bit of left to right to left, but it is majority of the way left to right. So I'm going to aim probably just outside the hole. Shouldn't go too much to the left. Be pretty much a 2 count here. So 1, 2, got that in the white. That should turn nice. And there we go. All right, saved par. That was par, I think I saved there. Was indeed. All right, so I'll get the tee shot here for hole number 4 out of the way, and I will now talk about the worm cam method that I use. Okay, right, so I've just plopped us here onto the green of the 4th hole for a birdie attempt, and what I do for the worm cam, as I say, I've used this method now since the Golf Club 2, and it's quite effective. I do use it the odd time. As I say, if the bead / green line method is not really working out for me, I can always fall back onto this one. That's why I've mentioned a couple of times already in the video, the more putting methods that you do have at your disposal, you can just change it up on the fly if one's not working. But I do use this one the odd time in combination alongside the other method that I've just gone through, as it can help. Excuse me, bear with me while I just clear my throat. Yeah, apologies for that. I actually pressed the wrong button just before I was going to clear my throat. I actually took a screenshot instead of muting the mic. But yeah, if I have a long putt, and it might be a double break as well, it could be right to left and left to right, up and down, a bit of a roller coaster putt, I will actually use this method with along with the green line / bead method as well. So I always pop the pin in, and what I do is I come right down into the worm cam. So for those of you who don't know what the worm cam is called, we're down at the ground level, and just using the right stick, I can move the camera back and forward. Now, really quickly, before I do forget, if you're wanting to do this method, always make sure that you have where are we? Cameras and presentation. The approach and putting cameras set to off, especially when you have green grids and all that stuff on. If you're playing True Sim and all the other aids and assists are off, what you'll need to do is actually turn this on in order to be able to get into the worm cam and to manipulate the camera around to be able to read the green a little bit better. But that's completely different anyway. We're not focusing on True Sim stuff at the moment. So just make sure that you have the approach and putting camera turned to off, and that way you can get properly into the worm cam and move yourself around. So what I do, obviously, we just make sure that we're dead on with the pin. Just up and down on the stick. I just start with the ball roughly near the base of the screen, and you can either do it like this, just stay here where you are, or you can push the camera forward and try and mentally picture. Basically, in your head, you're using the putt preview, and as you're approaching the hole, picturing the path that the ball is going to take. So basically what I do is, as I say, ball about here, and I just move forward slowly, and I'm just tracing out, going by the colour of the grid lines and the pace of the beads as well, tracing where it's going to be, and straight away that is looking like it's going to turn. If I was to aim just straight at the hole and hit it, come out to about here. So let's try it. As I say, I can't mulligan this because we are on a round, so let's see if I got that right. I'll just do a double check on it. So it looks to be pretty much like it's going to go to about 1.5, so I'll reset our marker to 25. I'll come out to 1.5. I'm going to go 1, 2, hit it, got the weight right. As you can see, that broke a little bit more aggressive. Now, because I made a little slip up there, what I wasn't taking into account as well was the fact that as I moved out, I'm actually going to be pushing the ball more up the hill when I do take the putt, so it's going to turn a little bit more. So I'm going to do at least one more hole just describing this method, and hopefully we can get a good example. I might even be able to get a double break shot as well. I'll see if I can find a double break. Okay, managed to get ourselves a little double break, actually, funnily enough. I was just saying I'll plop it out here again, just get a reasonable sort of distance. So we've got 18 feet up one, markers defaulted to 21. I'm going to keep it at the 21. So generally, if I was to do the other method right now, the way I see it, looking at this break, it's obviously going to break more aggressive left to right. I would probably put that halfway out here, because I would expect the ball to pretty much go out here and then want to turn back and come back in. So if I aim about halfway out, it should go left to right and come back to about here, and then the right to left should pull it back in. But we're not doing that method now at the moment. So let's try the worm cam and see if the two of them can sort of match up with each other. Yeah. Okay. So that's looking like I want... Now, I actually have the putt preview. So I said about halfway out here. We should have putt previews on anyway. I'll just double check and make sure on that. Just because I'm not the sharpest knife in the drawer sometimes, so I do want to be sure. Let me see, difficulty. We have it on unlimited, no problem. I don't know if it's unlimited in local match, but let's see if our putt preview can confirm both putting techniques here now. So I'll hold that out. It's going to go back, and then it's going to turn, and there you go. It's a little bit off. There is quite a chance I could just lip that out, but as you can see, I read that well on both techniques as well. So they are very reliable techniques to use. But again, as I did mention, what I'm showing is not gospel. You're not 100% guaranteed. I mean, even though I've read this correctly, if I don't get the weight right on this, on the power, I could miss on the inside, I could miss on the outside, I could run it right around the cup, and it could come back to me a little bit. I actually did have that happen a good while back. Just ran around I can't remember, I think it was the left side, and then came back out the right towards me. It just did a full 180 back. Didn't come back too far, but still. So let's see if we can get it right with a 2 count pretty much. We'll pop our pin out. So it'll be 1, 2. So we got the weight right. Is it going to turn back in? Hard to the cup. So I'll do one more just to show. As I say, even with the likes of a putt that's that distance as well, I'm getting it in my head. That was a birdie putt. I did get the birdie. Happy days. I'm more than happy to have gotten the birdie there. But in my head, I have the thought process, I'm 2-putting. Always, as long as I escape with par and I keep bogey off the scorecard, I'm happy. If I get the birdie, or if that was to be a par 5 or something like that and I got an eagle, then happy days, even better. So this par 3, we'll play this hole as if it were a round, right? And see how well I can do. So 226, and it's down 18 really quickly. For those of you who are brand new to the game, if you don't know how to work out the elevation, your elevation always divide it by 3, and then if it's downhill, subtract that from your distance to the hole. If it's uphill, add that to the distance to your hole. So 18 divided by 3 is going to be 6, so I'll take the 6 off the 226. That'll give me that this hole is playing 220 yards to the hole, with the pin location and the elevation. Now we add in the wind. I'm going to add on roughly 4 to 5. I'm trying to jump up to 6. So I would say 5 to 6 mile per hour. So we're back up. The wind is trying to basically cancel out the elevation for me here now. So I would need to, with my clubs at the moment, I don't think... Well, it might do. I'll put a little bit of D-loft on my 4-iron. And we'll try and see if that can get up there on the green. Got it perfect. Looks like it should kick and run on. Hopefully leaves us with a decent little putt. Oh, this could go off the edge, which will actually give me a chance to talk about something that is quite controversial in this game. Oh, maybe not. It's going a little bit too far down. Right, let's try and... We'll just splash it up. And I'll talk about the chipping on the greens. Very touchy subject for a lot of people. I don't chip on the greens at all myself, unless my putt line is obstructed. Or I've attempted at least a couple of times. If it's a monumental putt and the ball just will not get near the hole, keeps coming back, I'll always attempt at least 2, if not 3 times to get a putt up there. So let's play the ball over here. But yeah, just about chipping. I'll actually do one more hole and just talk about chipping. I'll lay it up to where we'll have a little chip up to the hole, hopefully. Even if we are on the green, to be honest, I'll just chip it and just talk about how chipping can be so dangerous in this game. But right now we have 22 feet down 2 inches. So I mentioned earlier on about not downhill wise taking off 1 less than the actual elevation change. So it's 2, but as you can see, the marker is at 21. It's only taken off 1. So that's kind of what I meant about that. Just taking off the elevation change, but adding 1 back on, just to allow for that give and take, that where the ball might come up a little bit short. So we're using the worm cam method. Let's see. I'll even do the other method as well, just to see cross-reference the two of them, see if they match up, and then we'll do a putt preview again. So I pretty much just move the camera forward. And that looks like it'll be pretty much green line. Looking at the beads, maybe just inside. So I think maybe about here, just inside it. Let's do our putt preview now and see if that confirms it. It's turning nice. And that should be hard to the cup. So let's see now if we can get the weight right, because again, even though the two putting methods that I've used to read this putt, I'm still not guaranteed to get it. If I get the weight wrong, I could underhit it, I could overhit it, and as you can see, there is a massive slope just to run me straight off the green. Now this is a par putt. That's potential. We just say, for example, I've missed a putt and ended up here, or if I missed the green and chipped on, ended up here, whatever it is, I'm going for a par save. If I go off the green, that's going to be a bogey shot then to come back on the green. So minimum, unless I was to hold that chip shot out, we're talking double bogey territory, if not worse. So let's see if we can get the weight on this right. So again, I'm going to strike the ball on 2. It's going to be 1, 2. Apparently I got that right. Oh, and as you can see, even though like putt line was relatively okay, both putting methods I read the putt line. Putt preview confirmed. Yeah, you've got it on target, but I was just a hair too long. 1% probably, even though it was in the white zone for a perfect power weight, I was probably just 1% off, and that's just what held it out there a little bit. I may have slightly pulled it, as you saw, might have seen the putt line was a little bit angled. So we'll just pop that into the hole, and we will move on. Yeah, so that's how chipping can be so dangerous. So if you're just off the green, that's why it can actually be beneficial just to say the likes of a par 5, if you can get there. Let's see if we can get there in 2. I'm dragging this on now at this stage, but let's see if we can get just shy of the green, somewhere in and around chip range. Maybe I might have to take driver off the deck for it, but what is it, 280? Right, we'll take driver off the deck and just smash it up there. Right, we're not on the green, but that is... Ooh, gonna lead. Now, this is a fine example. I see the way this ball is just rolling away. And a lot of people, the ones who chip on the green, would be terrified to take on a putt like this. We got 69 feet, up 2 feet, markers at 103. I'm not even going to bother calculating that 2 feet and adding it on and such in my head. I'm just going to leave it at 103 feet. Straight away, looking at the beads, I want to say 1.5. So pretty much aiming to there. Let's reset it. Let's do the worm cam. We'll do this final demonstration, then I promise that's it. So let's just move ourselves forward. You also got to keep in mind that the further you are, the more you're going to be hitting. I want to say that's around about 2 now, actually. The further you are away, and especially if it's uphill, the harder you're going to be hitting it, so you can potentially skip through some of that break. So initially I said with the bead reading about 1.5. Going by the worm cam method, I was thinking it's more closer to the 2. So I'll put it on the 2 and see where the putt preview puts us, or see how accurate we were. So looking at that, now let me see. Let's pan that camera back. Come up, there we go. Where's that putting us? That is going to leave us just a hair short. And that, from that range, from that distance, 69 feet, up 2 feet, to get it to what would be probably, a foot, 6 inches to a foot away in the hole. Let's see if we can drop it. So we were aimed on, I'm going to have to reset that. We were aimed on there, aimed on the 2 line. So I wasn't too far off with the initial bead reading method. But let's see, I'm going to do a 6 count on this as well. That's going to be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. I have blasted that, I think, have I? Oh, come on, turn. But even though I've overhit it, I haven't gone too far past, and that was an eagle putt. So, I mean, I still have birdie on the card. Straight away, birdie, looking at the 2 beads. I want to be aiming here. 1. Turn. Making a liar out of me. I went out a little bit too far, but you get the idea. As I say, there's actually a fine example of what I said. No putting method is 100% guaranteed. I did take that a little bit quicker than what I probably could have. If I was playing in a society event, I probably would have, even with that short putt, would have taken my time, but we'll drop it in for the par. I'm playing for par, I'm happy, even though I 3-putted it. But that initial putt, the two methods, I worked the two of them because of the distance and the elevation, and I managed to get myself relatively close. Now, the putt preview was shown that we should finish up right beside the hole, right in front of it, just shy. I slightly overhit it, but I didn't go too far past. So that's where the counting method really comes in, very, very helpful. So yeah, that, I think I have covered everything. If you feel I haven't, if you do feel that I missed out on something, do feel free to let me know down below. But I think this video may have dragged on a little bit longer than I intended, so that is where we are going to wrap it up. So I would like to say thank you all very much for watching. I hope you did find it useful in some way, whether you're brand new to the game or you are well established in the game, you've been playing for a long time. I hope you did find it useful. Maybe you've been away for a while and needed a little bit of a refresher. But yeah, either way, I hope you did enjoy it. If you did, don't forget to drop it a like if you haven't done so already and you do enjoy the content here on the channel. Do consider subscribing. I will talk to you all in the next one. Until then, take care, have yourselves a good one, and bye for now.